And it was a lot of it was based on the petrodollar, which, by the way, Saudi Arabia just quit. They didn't renew it. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
So, and all of a sudden, CBS News is starting to do news stories about how Saudi Arabia was involved in 9/11. All of a sudden, 24 years later, all of a sudden, oh, you know what? Turns out there was something happened. And they're like, you mean 2 weeks after they decided to not renew the fucking petrodollar? Now CBS News is allowed to talk about that and investigate it, which when I talked about it got demonetized. But anyway, so that's why, because Gaddafi was doing that. He was going to set up a currency for all of Africa, and it was going to be based on have a gold standard. And so they're like, no, you're not. You're not fucking doing that. And they made up a bullshit thing like, we got to save the people. Whatever. You guys, they don't give a fuck about the people in America. They got veterans and everybody else living under every goddamn bridge in this country. You think if they gave a shit about those people, don't you think they'd start helping the people right outside the front door?
Right.
Instead of, no, we got to go help people in Libya, and we got to help people. It's about helping people in Ukraine, and it's about helping people in Taiwan, and it's about no. This is all about an upward transfer of money. This is about balkanizing countries and turning it over to BlackRock and Vanguard. That's what this is about. We did. Guess who violated that? That Ukraine. It wasn't that. And so, I've heard people. And then, of course, nobody knows how this war started. You've had Dave Smith on. He explained it.
Yeah.
Nobody still to this day knows about the Maidan coup, that the United States got in bed with right-wing Nazis in Ukraine to overthrow a democratically elected government. And then they started bombing the people in the east of Ukraine, called the Donbass, and they wouldn't stop. They had two peace agreements called the Minsk Accords. Guess who violated them? The Ukraine. It wasn't. Of course, it was the expansion of NATO. Right, the threat of putting NATO on the border of Russia, which everybody from Kissinger to Chomsky and everybody in between said that's a mistake.